Hello, I'm Aidan.
And I'm Josh. Welcome to Undead Ramblings, where we talk about all things Call of Duty Zombies, amongst other games, movies, and other media.
This is episode 7 of our podcast, which we are recording on the 13th of March 2025. Thank you to everyone who has already watched our previous episode where we discussed our thoughts on the Tomb. And if you haven't seen it already, please go check that out along with any of the previous episodes. Just a couple of things to mention. Josh and I have decided to switch from using Discord to Steam voice chat. We've found that's a lot clearer, haven't we? And it's not got as many kind of issues.
I was going to say, we've been having a bit of a time with Discord recently, haven't we? It's like, it's constantly stuttering, breaking up, and all sorts. Like I say, it never used to be like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happened in recent years.
Hopefully we sound a lot more clearer now, and there won't be any kind of stuttering, and nor would you hear us saying, like, sorry, Discord's been an issue anymore.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed for Steam.
Yeah. Second bit of thing to mention is we were going to record this last week, so on the 6th of March, and for the episode to be released today, but unfortunately, on the 13th, but unfortunately my daughter hurt her arm, so I had to take her to hospital. She's fine, she is fine now, but that's why we're recording a week later, so this episode will drop next week, which I believe is the 20th, so it should be the 20th today by the time this episode drops.
Yeah, that's what we're targeting. As far as
absolutely.
Oh god.
No. I was just saying absolutely.
Okay.
I was just going to hand it over to you for channel updates and news, zombies news.
All right. So for channel updates, we haven't really got a whole lot this time. Like I said in the previous video, I was planning on releasing the soundtrack for Liberty Falls and Terminus after the Tomb video came out, but because it's been so late, I figured it's a priority to get this video out first. So we're going to be putting all our eggs in this basket for now. But once this is out, I'll definitely be uploading the Liberty Falls and Terminus soundtrack. You can lynch me if I don't.
I'll hold you to it.
Beyond that, though, I'd just like to apologise for the delay on the previous episode. That was all me, because I was being fussy about particular thumbnail aspects. So you could blame me for the delay on the last episode, but hopefully it won't happen again, because some of the issues I ran into, I shouldn't run into again. It's more like, like I said to you, it's like just like a learning thing, really. There's some things I didn't quite know how they worked, but I think I've got a handle on it now. Touch wood.
yeah, and like you work bloody hard on those thumbnails, and some of them aren't easy to get the assets for. So
yeah, for sure.
I'd say the last one is probably my favourite one.
Oh yeah. Like the Sentinel artifact, I'm sure I said to you, like is hashed in the game files, so you know it's not listed by name. So I had to go through like 100 of the files to find the Sentinel artifact model, and it was a nightmare. I have to say, I'm not looking forward to Black Ops 4 because of that. I feel like that's going to be a pain. Some of the character models are easy enough to find, like the ones that are in Blackout and stuff, but like zombies exclusive assets can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, of course.
But not looking forward to it.
We'll cross the bridge when we. Well, we've got plenty of time before then.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
We do have a bit of zombies news this week, don't we?
Yeah, so we've had a new map tease, which is the mansion, which we saw was mentioned in the ending cutscene for the Tomb. So I believe, isn't that the setting for the introduction to Liberty Falls? For everyone who's watched that.
Yes.
So we might.
Yep, with Richtofen's like the kind of cutscene with Richtofen.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get some closure on that, because like that's one of the things that I was actually saying to a friend the other day about how it feels like the main chunk of the story is taking place somewhere else. We still don't. It feels like what we're doing at the minute is kind of like an offshoot, going and getting the Sentinel artifact and all that. But we still don't even really know why any of this is happening, because as far as the zombies go, we've sorted that out in Cold War. They've just kind of appeared in Terminus and they've been bothering us since. So I'm hoping we'll get to see that fleshed out a bit in this map, and maybe have a reason as to why it's happening again. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, according to this article, which was released on the 12th of March, so the day before recording this, funny enough, we're expecting this as early, this next map. So far it's just called the Mansion, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're expecting it for Season 3, which starts on April the 3rd.
So that's a lot more recent than I was...
really soon.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a lot sooner than I was expecting. Especially... Oh, pardon me. Especially after the Tomb felt a bit, rushed. I am a tiny bit nervous about this coming out so soon, but I'm optimistic. I'm not going to go into it expecting it to be bad. I'm really hoping for the best.
Yeah, I mean, like we said in our previous episode, the Tomb wasn't bad. It was just mid.
Yeah,
at best.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
But yeah, I mean, like as of when this episode drops, it should be released in 2 weeks' time. So
so something to look forward to.
It should be pretty interesting. Apparently, we got some good news though, don't we, regarding it?
Oh yes, and the best news that we've had so far with Black Ops 6. It's not going to feature amalgams. Hallelujah! Insert stock tune sound.
Yep.
And apparently no abominations either, which I don't know why they mentioned that, because they've only ever appeared once in Black Ops 6, so they're not exactly quite as unpalatable at the minute as amalgams, but still, I'm hoping that's a hint that it's going to be something new, but I'm not holding my breath.
My prediction is that we're gonna have the Disciple come back.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. Honestly, even if it's the Disciple, if as long as it's that instead of like the Manglers or something, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see the Manglers again either, to be honest.
I mean, to be honest, it's set in the same place as Liberty Falls, so we could possibly see the Manglers again. So
yeah,
I reckon it's going to be like Manglers are the kind of heavy enemy, and Disciples are going to be the elites.
Yeah,
that's my betting.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, I could see that being the case.
I'm also expecting to see the wonder weapon of the map being the Wonder Wolf, just because of the cutscene.
Yeah, for sure. I did read an article the other night, and I'm not going to quote it as true because I can't honestly remember where I saw it, but some article mentioned that the map takes place before Terminus, which does not make any sense to me, so I'm assuming that whoever wrote that had misinformation or something. I just don't see how that could work.
I would assume so.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it completely threw me off. I was like, how could it be before the maps we've already done? We already know we're going there next. They couldn't do it twice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. Like, the only thing we know for sure is, as we've said, is the amalgams and the Manglers aren't coming back. And the only other thing we know for sure is that there is a teaser image, which hopefully should be on screen at some point. Yeah,
we're going to start timestamping that so I don't forget in post. Because that's a big problem I have.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's understandable, to be honest, when you've got like an hour and a half of audio recorded. You don't want to sit through the whole thing, just to find that one moment where you mentioned just bringing up a picture. So that's why I keep forgetting about them. I try to keep them in mind when we quit or stop recording, but I always forget one or two of them by the end. So yeah, we're going to start timestamping them now to make sure they actually show up.
Any kind of expectations for this next map, do you reckon? Like for yourself?
Nothing that I can think of that stand out, really. Like I say, I'm just hoping it's something more on par with the launch maps than the Tomb. But as far as expectations go, specifically, if anything, like I say, just maybe an explanation is like for the backstory behind the introduction cutscene, because like I say, it's been a bit of a mystery since we got that cinematic. I remember back when it came out, we thought we were going to get all these answers and that with it, but it's never really gone anywhere. Same with Panos in
Yeah.
the ending for Liberty Falls. I'm assuming he's going to make an appearance here.
Yeah, I mean, I should imagine by the time this episode goes live that we'll probably have like some like teaser trailers, or at least we'll have some soon. So that'll kind of give a bit of an insight as to when the map is set, but I guess we'll see. I, for one, just hope that there's not another character in it who's just audible pollution.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Archibald.
Aye, that's the case.
Aye.
Anything else to cover?
I don't think so. Pretty sure that covers most of the news. At least everything I've heard about. There is, I guess, there was that cranked mode that had its own Easter egg challenges, but we haven't done them, have we? We didn't even. We didn't try them together.
Yeah.
No.
No. I mean, you tried the mode yourself, haven't you? But I just haven't touched cranked at all on Black Ops 6.
Yeah.
So I've got nothing to say about it. It just doesn't interest me at all.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I tried it a few times, and I just found trying to do the Easter eggs just frustrating. So I just didn't bother. It felt like the time was way too punishing. It just didn't feel worth it. So I never bothered doing them. Congrats for anyone who did.
Yeah.
Because it was challenging, but a lot of the people that did it seemed to say that they had to use gobblegums to do it. So I'm like, well, what's the point? Because that's what you get for doing it. You don't want to spend your gobblegums to get gobblegums. What's the point? So
yeah, you're just kind of like getting like zero sum there, aren't you? So
yeah, I suppose. And you also just get a calling card with the shell on it, so it didn't seem worth it to me. If it was a bit easier, I mean, but not as it is now.
Yeah, I mean, you know my thoughts on this whole like Teenage Mutant Ninjas event.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's
a bit. It's a bit of a sour taste.
I mean, exactly. I mean, like, to anyone who's listening to this, like, feel free to go back on our previous episode where we kind of gave our thoughts over it a bit more in depth.
Yeah,
I'm not going to bring it up here, but yeah, I'm certainly a bit salty over the whole thing.
Understandable. All right, so do you want to move on to the topics then?
Yeah, absolutely. So this episode we're going to cover the fan favourite map Riese, the fourth and final map to be released in World at War as part of the most excitingly named DLC, Map Pack 3.
I know, wow. Vengeance can like run away after that, because that was one of the best titles. Just Map Pack 3.
Bring back old conventional map pack names.
Oh yeah.
Just Map Pack 1, Map Pack 2.
At least it was honest.
Yeah. I mean, you knew what you were getting on the tin, basically.
Aye.
So this map pack was released on the 6th of August 2009, back in the years of yore. So yeah, God, that was.
I know. I hate reading these dates.
How many years?
Oh dear me. Well,
I feel so old.
So do I. It's like just like under 20 years nearly. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just a reminder that once again we'll be, as always, for the World at War maps, we'll be sticking to the World at War version of the map, but briefly cover the Black Ops 1 port as well, being as they're pretty much the same. The Giant will get its own dedicated video. I know it's very similar, but I think there's enough differences in there to kind of warrant its own video, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah. It's basically, like the story as well. It's like its own map, so it's definitely worth doing it independently with Black Ops 3.
It just feels different.
It does, yeah. No, I totally agree.
So, topics for this episode is standard fare for our kind of retrospective videos. So, our initial thoughts on the map, background of the map and the setting, cast and story, mechanics and gameplay, music and ambience, Black Ops 1 port, trivia, and then any other little tidbits.
Alright, so you ready to get started then?
Absolutely. Give us your initial thoughts on the map, because I'm guessing you probably remembered when this released, being as I came to Call of Zombies really started for me. Like, I came to Zombies quite later than you, so you probably remember this releasing.
Yeah, it was Kino for you, wasn't it? Black Ops 1.
Technically, yes. Though when I got Black Ops 1, Ascension had already come out, and I think Call of the Dead had not long released. So I came to Zombies really late, if you think about it.
All right, yeah. I mean, to be honest,
but
starting at the start of Black Ops 1 or midway through Black Ops 1 isn't really that different. You know, it was still very early, so.
Yeah. I mean, like, even though like Ascension and Call of the Dead had like come out, like, I'd still say Kino is like my first proper map, being as that was the first one I loaded up. I had played bits of like Shinonuma and Riese, but not enough to kind of remember. And certainly not enough to know, like, get the hype around when it released.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. Well, I think for me, I don't honestly remember my first run of Riese. Just funny, because I remember my first run of Verrückt and Shinonuma, but I cannot remember my first attempt at Riese. My main memory of Riese is a pretty tragic one, actually. It was the first day I realised back then that my internet was shit. And I was in that denial phase where you're hosting and everyone else's connection's bad. But, you know, it's everyone else's fault. It's not yours. It can't be your internet. It's never your internet. It's everyone else's fault. And then it seemed like from that day onwards, my internet was always bad. And I just remember hosting and
Oh, no.
You remember when we first started playing, my internet was terrible. It was constantly like lagging out randomly and all sorts. It was really bad at times.
Yeah.
Thank God we're past that now.
Did you?
But
Yeah. Did you get the kind of like whenever you pressed like backspace or the select button and you like saw everyone's like internet connection and your full bars green, you're great,
everyone
and
else is red,
like, on red or just like two yellows.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. Yeah. I wish I was born more recently so I could play like the newer games and then I could blame everyone else because nobody else can check their ping. So
yeah.
I could have totally gotten away with it these days, but you can gaslight your friends into thinking your internet's good. But yeah, no, that's my memory of it, is being called out for my shit internet by my friends back then. Because it was bad. They were like, you know, teleporting all over the place. And that's my main memory of Riese. So it's not particularly a positive one. But obviously that's nothing to do with the map itself. That was just, like I say, I don't know what it was. Shinonuma and that were fine. It was just as soon as we got to Riese, that's when everything went wrong. And it was like that for a decade, if not longer. I do not miss those days. Not internet-wise, anyway. But anyway, sorry, I've gotten totally sidetracked on this tangent.
No, you're good.
As far as the map goes, yeah, it's probably my favourite on World at War, as I've mentioned in the previous episodes where we covered like Verrückt, Shinonuma, that sort of thing. I really enjoyed Riese. It's definitely, like, as we said before, like, you know, the blueprint for all the maps we kind of have nowadays, like with your Pack-a-Punch and all your perks, your traps, all that sort of thing. It basically, you know, it puts everything together, doesn't it? You know, like a nice cohesive way.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the most accessible map on World at War, I'd say. And then again, maybe I'd give that to Shinonuma, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because, you know, you do need to understand the teleporters at least to get the most out of Riese, which is a bit more work than you'd need with the other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a map I hold in high regard. I do really enjoy it. I always liked how, you know, how like when you put power on, it like lowers the bridge, so it gives you another avenue that you can cross through. There's I believe you mentioned it in the document somewhere. There is the Juggernaut Death corner,
Yep.
Where you don't even
There's a lot of
bother.
infamouses in this map.
Absolutely, yeah. Where you don't even bother unless you can. You've got monkey bombs. Just don't, unless it's an early round, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else it brought. We got the Bowie knife, didn't we? Bowie knife. Yeah, monkey bombs, as you mentioned. The Wonderwolf makes a return. It's just got this great roster of weapons, and being able to take weapons that we've used for the first, previous 3 maps and being able to upgrade them. And that was always really exciting back then, when you first got to try all these weapons that you've been using for the whole, the whole game up to that point, and seeing, being able to upgrade them and seeing how differently they operated, which isn't really a thing we get nowadays, is it? They don't really change now, but back in the day they used to change it to different firing modes and stuff whenever you'd upgrade them. So that was always cool.
Yeah, and get a new attachments, like the rocket launcher could fire 4 rockets before it needed to reload. I think it was fully auto as well, weren't it? It was like the Panzerfaust.
It could be, yeah. And the fan favourite, the Mustang and Sally, or whatever it was called. I don't remember if that's what they called it back then. No, it's
Isn't
the
it
C
like the
C1000.
C1 3000 Biatches or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Gotta love that lead speak.
Oh, it's so mid 2000s.
It really is. But yeah, it features the return of the cast from Shinonuma as well, which we have for the next decade or so. So that was always cool to see. Fleshes out.
What would you say is your
Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I was just gonna ask, what would you say is what is your favorite area of the map?
My favorite area. I feel like it could just be the pure nostalgia of it, but probably Teleporter C. The catwalk is it's such a nostalgic spot. It's just where you think of when you think of Riese, or at least I do.
Yeah, for real.
It's definitely like I say, an iconic location in the map for sure. If I had to veto that though, probably the spawn area. I do really like the visual energy of the starting area. It's got a really eerie vibe to it,
Yeah.
But yeah, beyond that, there is a few other things I wanted to go into, but I feel like I'm going through all the topics all at once, so I think I'll leave it there. And what did you think of Riese?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I came to this map. I played bits of it with friends, just going around to their house and playing it on Xbox. Split screen.
Classic.
So I played with it I know, I'm really showing my age there. I was always am I right thinking there was the top screen and bottom screen? That's how they did it, or was it left and right screen?
Yeah, but they always used to
Oh no.
They used to have.
It was the boxes, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
The diagonal boxes.
They had those. They had it in a weird aspect ratio, so it was kind of stretched into a small box. It's slightly off center. Yeah.
I remember I was always the lower right one, while my friend was the top left one.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you could say I was the bottom.
Quality.
So yeah, my kind of earliest memory of that was when I first faced the dogs on the split screen, and it was in the kind of courtyard where power is, and we just kind of had our backs to the door. Kind of classic strategy, but it was so much fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
While Riese is not my favourite map of World at War, which that goes to Shinonuma, it really, I wouldn't knock its quality. It's such a good map, and I can't fault anyone who says this map is their favourite map and the best map on World at War. It is really kind of what some could almost say it's peak zombies. This is exactly what zombies has always been and meant to be. And I think it pushes everything forward that the game has kind of been building on.
Yeah.
And really, I would say this, like, while all the other maps like set out foundations, this is like the map that everything beyond it builds off of.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it feels like, you know, as I said before, like the culmination of all the World at War maps. It's got a bit of everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a great map. It really is. And just going back to what you said before about Shinonuma, like being your favorite. Like I say, I totally can see why people would think that as well. It really is a solid pick, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, all of the World at War maps are just so beloved, aren't they?
Absolutely. I feel like Nact catches a lot of hate these days for being basic. Like a lot of new players that started with Black Ops 3 don't particularly like playing Nact, or people who played it a long time don't play Nact a lot because it's simple. But I don't know. I feel like that's the beauty of it. It's just zombies, you know what I mean? It's just exactly what you expect from the mode, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, Nact is basic. Like, it's the truth. Like, it's really simple by today's standards. I certainly wouldn't want a new map being released today to have like what Nact has, or what doesn't have, sure. I should say. I'd be raging if that happened. But like I said, it's the beauty of Nact. It is simple, and I think a lot of people gotta remember, like, it's the first map.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of really, like, everything. There wouldn't be zombies without without Nact.
Yeah, for sure. I think the word I'd use for it is humble. That's how I view Nact. It's just humble. You know?
Absolutely.
It just feels like it feels like what it is. Like, I know this isn't a Nact video, but it just feels like it's a prototype map that they wanted to mess around with and see if people liked. And I think that charm of it still shows through when you play it now. I still really enjoy playing it.
Yeah, absolutely, and like, yeah, totally. And like, if it is just a prototype map to kind of get the feels, I'd say it's done its job brilliantly, and then some.
Absolutely, like you said before, we would not have any of the maps we have now without it.
And then just to go through, like, you get your perks from Verrucht, and then in Shinonuma you get your wonder weapons and your special rounds.
Yeah.
And now it kind of, like you said, it culminates into the masterpiece that is Riese.
Absolutely.
And from there, everything that that's come from Riese, I would say, like, you could probably, if you look at every single map, you would probably, like, from Riese, you could probably pinpoint something that relates to Riese.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. No, it really is. Like you say, it's foundational. It's definitely the map that's used as the base for every map. Like, even maps nowadays that are considered basic, like, not so recent, but like Town or something in Black Ops 2 just uses everything from Riese, pretty much. It's considered it's the kind of the new Nact, isn't it? Or not so much new, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I think thanks to the Giant, it's expected now that the, like, second on disc map, so to speak, has got to be like at a Riese level.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on, let's talk about background and map settings. So I'm not sure if there's, like, in terms of, like, map development and the mode development, I'm not really familiar of any kind of gamers' theories or development stories, other than the fact that the map uses assets from the multiplayer map Nightfire. Do you know anything?
Not particularly. I know this is the first map where they started using the Sam theory that we talked about in the previous episode, Shinonuma. Where they finally made Sam into a character. But beyond that, there was something I was going to mention in the trivia section, but I'll bring it forward. And that is the Ammo-matic, which is an unused perk we were supposed to have at one point, which would allow you to basically buy a max ammo, which is kind of a thing now when you think about it with the ammo caches in Black Ops 6.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think about. But yeah, that was a cut perk. There's a few files lying around for that, isn't there? There's like texture files, sound effects, that sort of thing. I might actually see if I can dig one up. I might show it on screen if I can remember.
I'm making note of the timestamp so that you can bring it up.
Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was also going with that, because I didn't know this until you told me before we started recording, that apparently there is supposedly a room that was going to be used in the original Riese that got scrapped, which would have been underneath the catwalk, like the outside portion where the Gobblegum machine would be in the giant. And that is where it would house this perk, which I didn't know. So I remember hearing back in the day it was where Jug is now. Not Jug, sorry, Speedcaller. That's what I remember hearing back in the day.
It might be. I mean, I might be getting my things wrong. I'm pretty sure there was something up in that room, but I can't remember.
Honestly, like I say, I didn't research into that room a whole lot, but I have heard of that before. It's definitely, I know it's got, if you no clip into it, stuff inside it does show up, but it could be left over from Nightfire. I'm not sure if that area is accessible in that map. It might just be left over from.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. There might be coding or something that suggests that there was supposed to be something in there. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, beyond that, I don't really know of any developmental history. There's the Pack-a-Punch, or is it Juggernog song that is like extended or something?
It's the Pack-a-Punch one.
Yeah.
So the Pack-a-Punch jingle, which I can't remember. I mean, I'm sure you'll probably have it in the description. I'm pretty sure like someone uploaded it on YouTube at one point.
Yeah, I believe so.
But that's where we get all the kind of backstory about Jeb Brown the blacksmith, which was expanded on in Tag to Toten. So I'm really pleased that like while we got the condensed version of it in game, the actual expanded version does exist and does have a place.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I didn't even really know, to be honest, that they had stuff about him in Riese. That's honestly the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. Have you not heard the expanded
I know
Pack-a-Punch jingle?
I've heard the expanded one once, but it was a while ago.
Right.
Okay. No, I'm misunderstanding. I thought you said you said expanded. I thought you meant like Tag to Toten expanded on it, but he was mentioned in Riese, and that's why it was thrown. Alright, I see.
Right. No. So, like, obviously the jingle itself was cut down, like, obviously created for Riese.
Yeah.
But they cut down, the one we get in game is the cut down version.
Oh, yeah.
But they still, like, but obviously they had the expanded version. And then in Tag to Toten, they kind of mention about Jeb Brown, and you got all the radios about him, how he created the Pack-a-Punch. So it's nice to, like, even though we never heard him before then, other than this expanded jingle, it's nice that they kind of remembered him and gave him a whole backstory and like gave an origin for the Pack-a-Punch.
That is pretty cool, given that, like you say, it's an extended thing that wasn't actually used, that they still took that and ran with it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Beyond that, though, for real this time, I don't know anything else.
Yeah. I mean, there might be some interviews, but certainly, I think it was in Black Ops 1 that they really did start doing, like, developer interviews. So, this, like, well, there's not a lot of information. There probably is, like, interviews online, but I haven't done my due diligence and researched it properly.
I had a quick look when we first wrote the document, but beyond that, no, not. I don't really know anything about the development. It gets more interesting, I think, as the maps go on. Like Moon, especially, has some really exciting stuff in there, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, for real. Which I need to probably make note of being able to talk about it later on in this episode. But for now, we do know where this map is set. So it's set in a German science facility outside Breslau in occupied Poland. We got the classic, like in terms of the actual layout of the map. So we got classic branching paths through animal testing and the furnaces. Which is your like preferred route?
Generally, I take the Thompson route. I just love the Thompson in World
Yeah,
of
the
War.
furnaces.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's such a good placement.
It's purely for the Thompson. Like, I know a lot of people like to go the other way because you get Jug. I don't know. I just personally prefer that route. I say the Thompson just makes up for it for sure. What about you?
Absolutely. I initially did the other route, but seeing how much I liked the Thompson, same as you, like it was a good early round gun to have, and not bad pack-a-punch later on.
I was gonna say it. Like,
yeah, I
just quickly going back actually to the initial thoughts a second. I do remember the first time I pack-a-punched a weapon, and it was the Thompson.
Yeah,
yeah, that was my first ever pack-a-punch weapon. Class.
Nice. I can't remember what my first pack-a-punch weapon was, and that was on Black Ops 1.
Because I remember we were just camping next to... Like, it's actually kind of unlocked a memory now that we've talked about that. I'm actually starting to remember the first match that I actually got pack-a-punch. There's nothing exciting about it. It was just a regular match. But I remember one of the people in the game knew what they were doing already. They'd already played it before, and they were going around doing the teleporters and all that. And I just remember us all camping on the teleporter on the mainframe and trying to get enough for pack-a-punch, because that was obviously before people had figured out the catwalk and all that. So the idea was just stand on the mainframe and hope we don't die before we could pack-a-punch. That is wild that that's just come back to me. Nostalgia overload with that one.
I mean, that's World at War in a nutshell. It's just nostalgia overload.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, Riese is set in a very urban. It's very urban compared to the previous maps. This one is like set in like a city, isn't it? So, or a town. So it's a lot more kind of, a lot of big imposing buildings, sciencey areas, sandbag messages.
Yeah.
I did make note of like the hanging man in like one of the buildings behind Maxis's office.
Is it Porter? I believe.
I think it's Porter, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so. That's who they said it is. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, kind of. This map feels very kind of lived in, and like you're not isolated, which is really nice to kind of the feels of the map.
Absolutely, yeah. I do love the feel of the map, like you say. It's got a very urban take compared to the other ones. And I think this might be... I don't know about the sanitarium, but this might be the first map that's actually based on a somewhat real location. Or at least a suggested to be real location.
I know. yeah, for real. So yeah, this map is the Verrucht is set in a real location.
It is.
And
the
there is
sanitarium's
a,
real.
real life building that. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I think it's still standing actually.
Oh, right.
And now that you mention it, like the mention of the real, like it's kind of unlocking like some development stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, this map is based on a real life like science place. I don't know if it is in Breslau necessarily, but you know where the fly trap is. And
yes.
you got that kind of
That was like Stonehenge.
like Stonehenge looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually real.
Oh yeah. I think I've seen that somewhere before.
And yeah, and like the whole kind of idea behind the map. So like the bell. D Glock as it was actually a real kind of supposedly based on real life experiments that happened back in around that time.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta be careful with my words here.
Yeah, I know. Gotta watch
so
the big
a
end.
lot of the yeah for real. So a lot of the a lot of the stuff in the map has kind of real world, which is largely based. A lot of the stuff in World at War in general and Black Ops 1 has real world bases in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's nice. So it's nice to see like things like the Bell and Die Glock and Wunderwaffe, like that. They've all got kind of real world bases in them.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that they kind of really took it to the next level in this map.
Absolutely. I also believe like the Die Glock, whatever you want to call it. It's not necessarily a teleporter in the quote-unquote real version. I believe that they didn't know exactly what it was for. It's like I say, I wish I'd done more research.
I mean,
into
the
this
theories.
before we brought it up.
Yeah, the theories range from like it being a like a super weapon or not a teleporter or even like a UFO kind of thing. Like there are so many kind of theories around it. But like the Wunderwaffe program back in World War II by the Germans was like has kind of real world basis and theories around it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it's true and how much of it is kind of speculation and conspiracy, but there is an element or a grain of truth in all of that.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, one of the things I do remember is, I don't remember if it's, like, where it's actually been said, but I remember that the actual, like, Wunderwaffe is, was considered too dangerous to actually ever be used.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly where I read that.
Yeah.
But I believe it was, like, if you were to fire it, it would basically kind of, like, chain everybody. Something like that.
Oh, okay.
I believe. I can't remember where I read that, so
yeah,
don't quote me on that.
Take that with a grain of truth.
That.
So yeah, it's really interesting.
It really is, yeah. There's that, and I believe the actual facility in the real world is supposed to be underground. It's not actually a factory like it is in the game. I believe it's like a series of underground tunnels or something like that they haven't actually found where.
Not surprising.
I don't believe they've ever actually found where it is there. The actual facility, I think all the tunnels are all closed off, and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting because like you say, it has that flair of it could be real. You know what I mean? It's got that kind of mystique about it.
Yeah, it almost makes like the maps in World at War and to some extent Black Ops 1 like have that level of believability.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Like it's like you take that and you look at, like, I don't know, Liberty Falls, and it's it's just totally fictional. You know what I mean? It's got a different feel to it.
Yeah, for real. Do you want to move on?
Yes. Sorry for going off about that. I just
No, you're good. I'm glad you brought it up.
Alright, well, I think I'm ready to move on then, if you are.
Yeah, sure. So, cast and story. We're gonna kick off with the timeline excerpt.
I was about to say, I trust you have this, because I don't. The excerpt.
Yeah, I've got it up, don't you worry.
Okay.
Hang on, I just gotta do a little bit of scrolling.
Yeah, it's all good.
Sorry, it's taking me down to a different one. So it's set in the original timeline. That much we know. So it's not in any of the fractures.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I did have it up. Here we go. So it's set on October the 28th, 1945. Ultimus returns to the De Riese facility, and with his diary, Richtofen plans to use the teleporter to return to the moon and confront Samantha. Unfortunately, the Wunderwaffe DG-2 overloads the teleporter and sends them through time to Kino, and this caused Richtofen to drop his diary.
It's very interesting. Like I know they've retconned, the diary thing. That definitely wasn't the case initially. But I like that they've found, these little bits and pieces to stitch them together in a way that feels at least, respectful to the source material.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the idea is that, like, in other excerpts, like when the Russians and the Americans kind of have a standoff and split like the kind of findings in De Riese between themselves, the Ascension group finds Richtofen's diary, and that's what causes Yuri, who then becomes a Pentagon thief, to go mad, and causes Ascension to happen. So it's really cool that that's kind of it's got long-term like consequences.
Yeah, it's played like a huge part in the story long term. Yeah, that is really interesting. There was something I was going to add there. But, that's what I was going to say. Isn't it in one of the Black Ops 1 terminals? Like, is it Kravchenko, like his cousin or something, was at the massacre?
Yeah. It's not like, it's not even in like in a zombies map or like radio or kind of cipher or anything.
Yeah.
It's like when you break out of the chair on the Black Ops 1 main menu and you go onto the computer.
Oh yeah.
You can find like quite a few zombie stuff in that. I think it's like concept art as well for like Verrucht and
All right.
other maps. So yeah,
I'll have
it's
to see
really
if,
cool. I haven't actually like.
If you want to add that to the list, I'll see if I can dig them up, and I'll put them on screen.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah,
it's got quite a lot of interesting stuff, and I think it's either in the computer or the actual intel that you can pick up in the Black Ops 1 campaign that says Kravchenko's cousin or brother was part of the Riese standoff.
All right.
Which makes sense, being as like Kravchenko later on is in Zombies, which is quite cool.
Funny how things turn out, isn't it? See, I would never know that because I was stupid enough on the 360 version to use that all intel cheat. So I could never get it in game afterwards. So I never got the chance to actually go around reading it. Because I thought you needed it to unlock 5 back then, but obviously that wasn't a thing. So
No, I think to unlock 5 you only needed to just beat the campaign.
Yeah, I'm sure they changed that though, didn't they? I'm sure a patch rolled out that made it available.
Probably.
But anyway, getting ahead of ourselves. That's 2 episodes away.
Yeah. But this map continues to feature our Ultimus cast. There we go.
Got there eventually.
So Tank Dempsey, Nikolai Belinsky, Takeo Masaki, and Edward Richthofen. And I think they got fleshed out quite a bit more in this one, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, there's definitely a few more quotes like of banter between them as well in this map, which is pretty fun. I do remember the Riese ones. Like I don't play 4-player a lot, but I do remember some of the banter between them being quite good for this one. I think this was the one where
I think
they actually grew on me. I think we talked about it last time in Shinonuma. They kind of irritated me a little bit at first. It wasn't until Riese I actually started to appreciate them a bit more. But yeah, no, they're definitely more fleshed out. And what was it you were going to say, sorry?
I was just going to say, like, and as always, like, if you're playing solo on World at War, like, you always ended up playing as Tank Dempsey, or if player 2 was always, like, Nikolai Belinsky, if you played split screen.
Exactly,
Yeah. I'm glad they changed that later on in other titles.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you've written in the document here, this was the first introduction to Maxis, not Samantha, Ludwig Maxis, and Sam, I suppose. Yeah. So
yeah.
So that's the first time we ever got to see those, which is really interesting. I don't remember if there were. I think Maxis had Ludwig Maxis may have been. See, it's awkward now because they only refer to Maxis as Sam in Black Ops 6. So I'm trying not to confuse people who haven't played the old ones. Maxis used to be known as Ludwig Maxis, didn't he?
or Dr. Maxis.
Or Dr. Maxis,
So, like, yeah, I mean, you can kind of make out in the Shinonuma radio in the main hut about, like, it's very static. Covered, but it does kind of... It kind of mentions Maxis and Richthofen, but it is very kind of static. But in this map is our kind of first formal introduction to Dr. Maxis and his daughter Samantha, both of which, I mean, Sam certainly are like keystone figures now in Zombies.
Yeah, for sure. I also believe this is the first map where we learned that Edward was Richthofen's first name, which was always fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's one
absolutely.
of the. It's one of the headshot quotes.
Was it this map or was it in World at War? Because, like, in the radios, which we might as well speak about now, like, you got your teleporter experiments, and Maxis only calls him Edward, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
If we did know or not.
Yeah, I think we knew him, like, the person on the radio as Edward, but it was never mentioned to be Richthofen until after the fact, because unless it might be mentioned in the Whispering radio in Shinonuma. No, it just says Dr. Richthofen, doesn't it?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it could also have been when they released the bio, so, I mean, who knows, it was a while ago.
All I remember is that one of the tells was one of his quotes from World at War, where he would say, "Ed wants your head," after getting a headshot.
Yeah.
That's the only time I remember ever figuring out that that was Edward. So he did a good job of downplaying the craziness in the radios. It wasn't immediately obvious at the time.
Oh, yeah.
In retrospect, it's obvious. But, back then, when you're younger, it's, a lot of it kind of goes over your head. It was just,
Yeah, I mean...
It got rid of that seed of doubt, hearing him say that quote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, like, this map in general kind of really, through the radios, pushes the story forward so much.
It really
like,
does,
you had the origins of the Hellhounds, you had the origins of kind of the zombies experiments as well.
Yeah.
You had the motivation of why Richtofen... no, that's in Call of the Dead, but you had, like, the deals that Max has made with the various parties to kind of get funding. I think this is also the first map, thinking about it, that mentions Sophia as well.
It is, yeah. It's that radio...
Who would become important in Black Ops 3.
Underneath Quick Revive, isn't it? I believe.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I loved the Riese radios. I thought, the one that always sticks out to me is the one in Spawn with the zombie. Stand up!
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that one. It's the one I remember the most, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's, like you said, all the radios on that map are good. It was really nice, and like, I know we're not talking about it now, but like the Giant, where they recreated one of the radios, but in the cutscene, that was really fun.
Oh yeah, that was like the last chronological radio, wasn't it? Where it goes like, "Goodbye, Dr. Maxis," and then it cuts to Richtofen laughing at the Giant, which, the Giant is probably one of my favourite intro cutscenes because of that.
Yeah, the fact that it ties it all back and it comes full circle. Yeah, it's all pretty fun, that.
Yeah, and this like, through the radios, we also get the origins of the Hellhound. So, like, Fluffy, the original Hellhound, was, like, pregnant with puppies.
Yeah.
And so, like, every Hellhound that come, like, because she got zombified through the teleporter, like, all the Hellhounds are, like, her puppies.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool.
Which makes you think there's quite a lot, and I can't remember how many times you fight Hellhounds between World at War and Moon, but there's a lot.
Absolutely, like, busy dog.
Absolutely. Alright, so do you want to move on to mechanics and gameplay?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let you take point on this.
Alright, so as we mentioned at the beginning, or the beginning of this section anyway, this map introduces Pack-a-Punch, so that's one of the keystone features we've had for the last 20 years or something. 15, 20 years of zombies, which is a lot of fun. Like I said, I do miss the older version of Pack, where you would get something unique every time. It's kind of become a bit more stale and a bit formulaic in recent years.
Yeah.
That being said, Black Ops 6 does change up a few. I noticed like one of the sniper rifles turns explosive after being Pack-a-Punch, like the Scavenger, which was pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
It's not too many guns though. Most of them are the same. But yeah, that was a feature I really missed from the original one. I'd like to see it come back. We also, as we said before, the introduction of the monkey bomb, and this was the first map to feature a kind of pseudo Easter egg, wasn't it? We had the fly trap.
Yeah,
the fly trap, which basically, if you've never done it, just consists of shooting 3 items, and that's really it, isn't it? You shoot the switch with the Pack-a-Punch gun and collect 3 items, and that's it. You don't get anything for it.
Yep, I think you got an achievement for it.
Oh yeah, I suppose you got an achievement. Yeah, but you never got any in-game rewards. That wasn't something we started getting.
Oh no.
Ascension. I think Ascension.
I want to say Call of the Dead. Well, technically Ascension, with the death machine, but in terms of like permanent rewards, probably like Call of the Dead or Shangri-La.
Call of the Dead or Shangri-La, something like that. So yeah, that was really really quite cool. We also got the teleporters, which is the first iteration of those that we've had. Where again, it's basically regular fast travel, isn't it? You just pay a fee.
Yep.
And you get teleported to the mainframe. And again, we've already kind of mentioned this, but there's the fly trap. But we've put it under a separate category here, haven't we?
Yeah.
All right, so this was a cool one. This is the first time we've had cash under the bug machines, which is where you go if you go pro and you can pick up some loose change, as it were. Which was always like
and like.
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, it's funny because, like, back in the day, like in World at War, and I think that's still the case now, it's mislabeled.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you usually only get 25, but World at War doesn't do like fives, so you get, I think it's 30 or 20 like cash,
something like that.
But you always have like, yeah, exactly. So, but you'd always only have like 25.
Yeah.
Which is quite fun. They fixed it in like other ones.
Aye. It always used to bother me because I was always like, where did I get these 5 points from? In like, is it Black Ops 1 that started using fives? I think it might have been Black Ops 1. I used to be like, how did I get 5 points? I remember when we played, was it Infinite Warfare? Where we kept getting random numbers at the end of the points, like 1s, 3s, 2s, 5s. And I was like, how are we getting these like singular points? Or like 3 points?
Yep. Absolutely.
We've also got the introduction of the Bowie knife, as we mentioned earlier. The jug corner, again, something we've already mentioned. And the Wonderwaff bug. Ooh, this one hurts.
I put it, you can't see it, but on the document I kind of put like air quotes on it because you apparently say that this is not a bug.
Yeah, so apparently, again, I should probably break it down for those who never played World at War Riese. If you ended up shooting a zombie too close, you'd end up shocking yourself, and that would render your jug moot. So you would, if you managed to shock yourself, you would go down in 2 hits, as if you didn't have jug, and there was no way to revert this.
Yep.
Once it had happened, it was done. The only way to get it back to
not even if you went down.
No, well, yes, if you go down and bite it again, it came back. But that's the only way to get rid of it. But it made the Wonderwaff totally unviable. I assume that it was supposed to be a counterpoint to the fact that it could chain a full round's worth of enemies, but I don't even know if that's true in World at War Riese. I think they already nerfed it to 24 or something, or 12. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think it was already nerfed on top of that, so I don't. Apparently.
Yeah, wasn't it? Isn't it?
Oh, go on.
Sorry. Isn't it like 12 normal and then 24 pack punched?
I don't know, because 24 is the whole wave, so I don't know if it does the whole wave.
No, this was before that. So, sorry, I'm correcting you here.
No, it's alright.
So, like, this was it's not the whole wave. Like, zombies would still spawn in. Like, in Shino Numa, the whole wave was always just 24 zombies exclusively. But on Riese, they changed it so that only 24 zombies could be on screen at once. But more zombies would appear if you killed those 24 per like, depending on what wave you're on.
Alright, that makes sense. Okay, so it is 24 then.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Alright, feel free to fact check us in the comments if we've got that wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently it came out recently that that's not actually a bug, and it's a purposeful design decision, which thank God they reverted in the Black Ops 1 port. Because that was a pain, wasn't it? I certainly lost a few games because of it. For sure.
Yeah, same.
I mean, like I say, if you play it safe and you only use it like on the stairs at the catwalk, you could normally avoid it, but trying to run around with it, you're bound to get yourself backlashed at some point. It was guaranteed to happen at one point or another. Beyond that, though, again, we mentioned the Hellhounds already. As you've said here, this is the first time they start appearing mid-round. So that was the first, wasn't it? The first time they started doing that?
Yeah. And I think it's the only time until... I want to say Black Ops 3.
Yeah, I think so. Have any of the other enemies started appearing mid-round? I suppose the spiders in Zetsubo do. I don't think like the Nova Crawlers haven't got their own rounds, so I guess that's not really a fair comparison.
No. I think it's Black Ops 3, like the quote-unquote pests appear mid-round, like regularly, so like your dogs, your spiders.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The drones from GK, and then really Black Ops 4 dogs like appeared regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was the first instance of dogs appearing mid-round.
Honestly,
I think it's after round 16, if memory serves.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just hard to believe. It feels like they've done that since since it started.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a part of me that always thinks it happens in Shinonuma, but you're right, it doesn't. It's definitely a Darius thing. All right, so do you want to take on the next?
Which I kind of miss.
Oh, go on.
Do you mind if we like just talk about some of the go in more depth with some of the mechanics and gameplay stuff?
Yeah, sure. Go on.
Particularly like the jug corner. I have horror stories about the jug corner.
Oh,
but my worst one was I went there because and stupidly I went there mid round and I bought the perk.
Yeah.
And it takes your cash away from you straight away. But you don't get the perk until you go through the animation of drinking it. And so I was mid-animation of drinking it, but zombies downed me. And so I lost the perk and the money, all in one fell swoop. I was absolutely raging over that.
Yeah, what's sad about that in particular is the fact that that's not something that's been addressed until very recently. I think it's Black Ops 4 or something, is it, that changes that? All the old games used to make you have to finish.
Get your perks as soon as you tap the button.
Yes, yeah, which is how it should be really. Because there's plenty of times where you get stuck up against the perk machine and you just go down because it didn't activate soon enough. So I'm glad that's a change that they made in more recent games.
Yeah. I just felt like it was such a cheap move.
It really was, yeah.
And I just want to talk about the Pack-a-Punch a bit more, because obviously, this is the introduction of the Pack-a-Punch, which, becomes a real staple of zombies going forward, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's only, 2 or 3 maps, or less than 5 at least, that, not including survival maps, that don't have Pack-a-Punch in them.
That's crazy to think about.
And... yeah, absolutely. And I don't think I can understate, how much the Pack-a-Punch completely changes the game.
It really does, yeah.
Try playing World at War or Riese without Pack-a-Punch, and you're not going to get very far. But this actually opened up the opportunity for higher rounds for a lot of people. And like you said, it's really cool that in World at War and Black Ops 1, you got new attachments, some guns like the M1 Garand, is it the Garand? No, the M1A1, sorry.
Widdershins.
In World at War, they... yeah, they go fully auto, which is just incredible. The rocket launcher can fire 4 blasts on it. The M1911 can, fires a rocket,
exactly,
or an explosive. The ray gun, I think that was viable until round 40, which was unheard of until then.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's like you say, it really doubled the play time you'd get out of zombies. You would not have, like you say, reached 30 pretty typically without it back in the day for sure.
Yeah.
What we said, say.
And I was just gonna say, I know that in later maps, the quest, quote unquote, to get to unlock PAP got a bit more complicated in some iterations, but this was relatively easy to get as well. You just had to link the teleporters.
Yeah,
which
true.
is simple by today's standards.
It really is, yeah. Like I say, now you've got a full-on mission to do just to get access to it, but back then it was fairly straightforward, as you said.
Yeah, and I think it's a great example of how a map rewards exploration.
Yeah.
you would never normally go down to the teleporter near animal testing or the teleporter where the above the furnaces. Like most people would usually stick by the teleporter at teleporter C near the catwalk. So it makes you go down these various places that you wouldn't normally go see.
Yeah.
To be able to and then you're rewarded for it by getting Pack-a-Punch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably worth mentioning again for people who didn't play the older games that back then you could only Pack-a-Punch once, didn't you? There was no like double Pack-a-Punch. There was no alternate ammo types. It was just Pack-a-Punch straight up. But that's all you really needed back then.
Yeah, and like this is what I'm saying. Like they've made like while Pack-a-Punch in a sense has always maintained its function, they have altered it, like how it functions. So like World at War and Black Ops 1, you get new attachments and different ways of firing. Black Ops 2, that was the first time you could double pap effectively.
Yeah.
And roll different attachments on your guns. I think it was like the DSR 50, you could get either a silencer or a different scope or something.
I think my favourite aspect of that was the DSR just totally losing the scope and letting use the iron sights. That made it so much more palatable. Yeah, that's how I used to use it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Black Ops 3 was the introduction of alternate ammo mods. So then Black Ops 4 kind of was a bit of a wild card because that's when you had to do your multiple Pack-a-Punches.
Yeah, they copied that Exo Zombie style, didn't they?
Absolutely. And now you're kind of in this alternate or this modern phase of Pack-a-Punch where you got like your sub menus, which I don't like the sub menu side of it. And I miss the animation, but like it's amazing to see where we are now compared to where we've come from. Like it's simple by today's standards, but so effective like when you go and actually play it in game.
It really is. And like one thing I will give the new Pack-a-Punch style is that I do like that we now get basically 3 variations of the Pack-a-Punch camera instead of just the one. I do think that's one of the cooler aspects of the newer version of it, but I do totally agree that in the with the original iteration, you didn't sure it could be seen as a negative that you couldn't upgrade more than once, but you really didn't need to because one upgrade gave you everything you needed. It felt like it was more powerful.
Absolutely.
Like it would basically go from tier 1 to 3, wouldn't it, by today's standards? So
yeah, and like I said earlier, it opened the game up from like where your 20s are your highest to now where your late 30s, early 40s could be your like an average player's highest.
Absolutely, yeah.
In World at War and in Black Ops 1. So I mean, this is like just a fundamental building block, and I think if you take Pack-a-Punch away now, the whole game could theoretically just fall apart.
It really could, yeah. And one aspect that I did also really like about it back in the day was like because it was so cheap, because it was only 5,000, you really incentivized just playing around and Pack-a-Punching different weapons because it was so cheap that you could do that. I feel like that's kind of a bit of a lost art in the more recent ones because everything's so expensive that you don't want to Pack-a-Punch it because it's just time consuming and you have to play to beyond like round 40 or something just to get a weapon fully upgraded to see what it's like. I wish we had a way to experiment a bit more with the more recent games.
Absolutely, and just to kind of add on to that, you're encouraged to kind of try out different guns in these early games because like no two gun is the same really. Like your Pack-a-Punch an assault rifle in Black Ops 6 or Cold War, you've Pack-a-Punched them all basically.
Yes,
you
exactly.
Pack-a-Punch an SMG in World at War or Black Ops 1 even. In Black Ops 1 you might get dual wield or double mags or a sight on your gun. Like there's definitely a lot more incentive to kind of doing more Pack-a-Punching more weapons in the early games than there is now.
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, I think it's kind of one of the drawbacks of the loadout system and the attachment system is the fact that they basically, the only thing I can think of that they could maybe do is I don't know, maybe have Pack-a-Punch give you unique attachments that you can't get anywhere else, or something like that. Because, like I said, it's kind of overshadowed that aspect of Pack-a-Punch, the fact that you could just customize your guns how you want, whereas before you had to, you basically had to earn the right to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what would be cool is like maybe if they. This might be a bit too maverick to say, but like maybe you get your customized gun, but when you start a game, you don't. It's just the base gun. You don't get anything on it. It's just the bare bones gun that you get like out of the gate if you start the gun with your loadout.
Yeah.
But the moment you Pack-a-Punch it, the weapon doubles, damage doubles, obviously, but you get attachments on it.
Yeah, honestly, that could work. Yeah. I'd be interested to see a way that makes it more. Like I say, it kind of points more to a fundamental issue, I think, with Black Ops 6 and Black Ops Cold War, I suppose. The fact that the loadout system doesn't really incentivize trying weapons regardless. It's, like you say, it's the box, the wall weapons. They just don't really have much of a use these days.
I mean, this is what I was going about in the last episode about the multiplayerization of zombies.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of lost some of the unique features that made zombies what it is.
Exactly. Like, I feel like if this was a system in World at War, we would never have tried all these weapons, because you would have just picked the MG42 out the gate and called it a day. Because why bother with anything else?
Absolutely, and like, yeah, and like. You don't get the excitement now that, like, of getting something like the MG42 out of the box that, like, you did back in the day. Like, if you could just rock up with an LMG and, like, jobs are good and great. But, like, I remember, like, just, like, clear as day, like, running around with an empty gun, running up to the box, hoping for something good. Seeing the ray gun pop up and like give me a ray gun, but then it gives me the and then it gives me the MG42 or the Browning, and I'm like, yes, that'll do in a pinch. I really want this gun, and then to go ahead and go and Pack-a-Punch it well to make it even better. Like it was just, it really ramped up the power fantasy that like you don't really earn now.
Like there was a point where I kind of preferred the loadout system, and as someone, as I say, like we talked about in the team, as someone who does camo grinding, I do definitely appreciate being able to start with a weapon that you want, but I do think there's a certain flavour of the mode that's completely absent now, because you can just start with whatever you want. I wouldn't mind seeing a version of zombies now that doesn't allow you to start with everything that you want. You know what I mean? And you have to pay your way again, like you used to. I'd be interested to see them experiment with the idea at least. Maybe a game mode.
I think wasn't it? I mean, this is what I was just about to say. Like, wasn't there a rumor that there was going to be a classical game mode in Black Ops 6 that's never really kind of seen the light of day?
Honestly, call me cynical, but it'll probably be limited time.
Well, this is it. Like, I wish that they would release I know it kind of splits the player base, etc., blah blah blah. But I wish alongside the kind of modern day version of zombies, that they would permanently also have, like, you could play the map either in traditional or classical. Yeah,
for sure. Like directed mode. That's kind of already split the player base a bit. So why not just have another one?
Yeah,
I'm sure there'd be plenty of people, like, from what I've seen online and people's reception to, like, Black Ops 6, some people are, like, well, modern zombies, I suppose. Some people love it, some people hate it. I honestly think there would be people playing both. Both different styles of it, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember you telling me when we were playing the Liberty Falls once that, like, all of those who were playing Modern Warfare Zombies was like having a gripe at Black Ops 6 Zombies because it wasn't like it.
yeah, I do remember that. No, that was a weird argument for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The only other thing I wanted to kind of touch on for this topic was just talk about the monkey bombs a bit more.
Oh yeah. I'm really glad you fleshed these out, by the way, because I feel like I did skim them quite heavily. So
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think it's good to kind of just go over them, but like maybe we could just talk about like some of the ones that are interesting. So like the monkey bomb. Again, like that's a staple mechanic that's kind of was introduced in this map, a kind of get out of jail free card, so to speak, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It was the first time we really had something like that. Like nowadays, we're all relying on like specialist abilities like Ether Shroud and that. But back then, your only real chance shot of getting out of it was a Wonder Weapon or a Monkey Bombs.
Yeah. And it's really cool that like that mechanic's still in though. Like you like they changed it for things like Gershes or like whatnot. But like the monkey bomb still exists.
It does,
even in modern zombies. Like, and you've also got like your Casmids, which also acts as a monkey bomb, which I think
like
for
fast
such
access
a
monkey
great
bomb.
little tool. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is it. Like back in World at War and Black Ops 1, possibly Black Ops 2, the monkey bomb priming time was a lot quicker than it is like by today's reckoning.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more reliable, but it still functioned the same in that it kind of took the heat off. Like if a player went down, you could just toss a monkey and you had enough time to kind of revive them.
Yeah.
It was definitely it was a breathing room tool that this mode like sorely needed, and it's such a great introduction. And I mean, I'm still waiting for you to upload the Monkey Bomb tune. So
I was waiting for this.
yeah. I mean, like now's I mean, I want that before the Liberty.
You want that
Falls
before
Liberty
Liberty Falls? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, at least that's easy to get a hold of, I suppose.
Yeah, which begs the question: why haven't you done it already?
Hold on, let me Google excuses.
I've been hounding Josh about this for quite a while, as you can probably imagine, folks.
Yeah. I've been slacking. I'll be honest. It's just like I say, like at least with the more recent games, it's because of this whole hashing and encrypting thing, and now because of Ricochet, the anti-cheat, it's such a pain to get stuff in the more recent games. That's not an excuse for the monkey bomb, by the way. That's just me slacking. And I need to get that Shinonuma song up that I kept mentioning.
The dog boss round one.
Yes. I'll do that. I'll do that once this is up.
I think just touching on that, like it does. Like newer games really aren't content creator friendly, are they?
Yeah. There's definitely, especially like I said. Well, I don't know because like it's such a weird one. Like I don't play multiplayer, so I don't know exactly how effective the anti-cheat is. Like I don't even know if it's worth.
According to PC players, not very good at all.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't heard the best of things about it. I believe that with Black Ops 6 they redid it, didn't they? They kept pushing that. Oh, we've updated it, we changed it, and whatever. But apparently, it's just got exactly the same problems now as it did before. So it's just creating roadblocks.
I find it
for
funny,
the
like
sake of roadblocks, if you ask me.
Yeah. Do you know what's hilarious? Like when you like load up Call of Duty on Xbox at least, and it kind of appears with the kind of like the screen appears with the title screen basically, and at the bottom one of the corners it says like Ricochet anti-cheat.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, oh okay, yeah, you're really pushing it that much, are you, huh?
Maybe they're hoping that they could license it out to other studios, but to be honest, I think probably other studios are probably doing it better. Because like I say, I haven't heard the best of things about Ricochet, so
Yeah.
If anyone plays multiplayer, please let us know in the comments if it's effective or not, because again, I don't play it myself, so I'd be curious to know if there's cheaters in every lobby.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen any on zombies.
Just to go back on the mug. No, that's fair.
I mean,
I don't.
What were you saying? Sorry.
Just to go touch back on the monkey bomb real quick, I did want to mention about the furnace Easter egg with them, like where you could just chuck the monkey bomb in the furnace and it cries out, and then you get like a telling off from Sam.
Oh yeah. See, I totally wrote that in with the or wrapped that in rather with the fly trap, because I always do it with the fly trap, so I always assumed it's part of it. But no, you're right.
Right.
You're right. It's not.
Yeah, like in the Giant, you obviously can find a monkey bomb in there, I think. Or it's in this one that you can find a monkey bomb in there if you do the fly trap. But if you actually toss a monkey bomb in there, it does cry out.
Yeah.
And same with the Giant. But you don't get those kind of like little Easter eggs anymore that are of no consequence, do you?
I could be wrong.
Every like little side Easter egg now.
I seem to remember you being able to do that in other maps.
Yeah, you can in the Giant. I know that if you toss a monkey bomb on the lava in the in transit, it does cry out as well.
Yeah, I was going to say I knew it was a thing in other maps as well. But I know you mean others.
But what I'm saying is like you don't get any of these like little tiny Easter eggs that have like no consequence. Like every like side Easter egg now has to have a reward attached to it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not the worst idea, I suppose.
No, I'm not complaining.
Rewarded.
It's just yeah. I'd rather rewards than no rewards, but yeah, I found that quite cute that they still like, you got just a little like just it kind of encouraged like the kind of the thoughts that you get where like, you're like
intrusive thoughts.
What happens? Yeah, that's the one. Intrusive thoughts. It's just like, you know what? Let's just give this a go.
I feel like all side Easter eggs now should be held to the standards of the Little Arnie one from Shadows of Evil. That should be the standard for side Easter eggs, in my opinion. Or the Kraken in Voyage of Despair. That was a fun one as well.
Yeah, for real. Is there anything more you wanted to add on to this topic at all?
I don't think so. I think we already covered it. I don't remember if I got to the catwalk bit before we went back to Pack-a Punch.
No. I suppose we'd be remiss if we didn't mention about talk about the catwalk.
Yeah, like we said in the breakdown initially, it's a very iconic spot. It's the first time
Would
camping.
you say it's probably the most iconic spot?
I'd say so, yeah. I was going to say it was the first real iteration of camping, but no, I suppose outside the power room on Berucht was always a big camping spot for a while.
But with Pack-a-Punch, it made it viable for a lot longer.
Yeah,
and Monkey Bombs as well.
I remember everyone used to use the PPSH, and then they'd be complaining in 10 minutes that they ran out of ammo. I'm like, that was just the PPSH back then. It had no ammo.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, that's how I remember.
I remember playing a game once. Yeah, I remember playing a game once where someone had a rocket launcher.
Oh yeah.
We all had monkeys. Someone had a rocket launcher. Two of us had the LMGs, and then someone had the ray gun and the PPSH.
Oh yeah.
And it got to the point where we were doing so well that we were just like, I'm getting bored now.
Oh yeah. Just standing there and shooting.
yeah, exactly. And like one of our team was just like, you know what? I'm gonna become a conscientious objector, and he just stopped firing.
Nice.
Oh, so good.
Speaking of the catwalk, I remember my group of friends back then, and that found a glitch on the catwalk, where if you stood two people on either side in front of the group, if there was a dog that wanted to get behind, it would get stuck in between the people at the front, and they wouldn't spawn anymore until that one was dead.
Oh, yeah, because this was back in the day where the dogs had tunnel vision and just targeted a specific player, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you could just lock one in place and then just kill the zombies until the end of the round, which made things a lot easier. I'm assuming it still works now.
It's so good. Probably. Was this the game, or was it the Giant where I was stuffing my face?
It was I think it was this one. Pretty sure it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine me being that frenetic on the Giant.
Probably.
Frantic, rather.
So, like, what happened was...
Oh, you gotta
we were
tell
doing the
everybody,
catwalk
are
strat, weren't we? Yeah, I might as well. This is a funny story. We were doing the catwalk strat, and I can't remember what you had. You had an LMG or something.
Yeah.
And I had the PPSH, I'm pretty sure. And you were holding down the kind of, like, you took point.
Yeah.
Just while I was reloading, and I just thought, you know what, he's got it. I'm gonna take a mouthful of pizza here. And I could see that you were then getting a little overwhelmed, so I joined in and helped clear up a bit.
Yeah.
And I think you said like thank you, and I said you're welcome. And, or no, you heard me like
I heard
eating,
you stuffing
and
your
like,
face.
if you're not too busy stuffing your face, yeah, come and help.
I'm sure I got stuck in the corner, didn't I? Like one of them was covering me in the corner. And
Yeah.
You just stuck it in, you just
absolutely,
munching on bloody pizza or whatever it was.
Yeah, if you're not too busy stuffing your face.
God. It's still something that we quote from time to time, isn't it?
Yeah, you never let me live that down, have you?
It was just wild. I was like, oh my god.
Time and a place, much. Oh god.
Good times,
so
good times.
So good. Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the next topic, because we're approaching an hour and a half now. Music and ambience.
So we have Beauty of Annihilation as the main Easter egg song for this map. Which is probably the heaviest song up to this point, isn't it? It's the first one that kind of sounds kind of in line with what we get nowadays. The other ones were quite...
one with like proper screaming in it.
Yeah. It's a lot, as I say, a lot heavier than the previous ones. I think this is the one that probably, I suppose 115 probably more dictated the style that they were going to go for the next, however many years it's been.
Yeah.
Because 115 was a hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think after 115, this is probably the most iconic Easter egg song, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said in Shiro Numa 1, for me, the 1 was the first song where I initially fell in love with the music and the Easter egg songs for zombies. But this one was also a banger at the time. It really was. Did really enjoy this one.
Yeah, for real. I think this is again listing off another first. I think this is the first time that you had to activate 3 separate items to activate the Easter egg. I know in Verrückt you had to flush the toilet, and you had to do that 3 times, but it was only one item you interacted with. Same with the one on Shino Numa with the phone, but in this one, I think this is the first time that you actually had to go to 3 separate locations and activate something like the brains in the jar.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case.
And was like they had that classic like soundbite. I can't remember. I'm not going to imitate it, but like the one that
like,
happens like whenever you hear it.
The one that's often associated with like the meteorites in Kino.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It might be in with the meteorite in Shino Numa, actually, thinking about it, but
it could have been, yeah.
Like all 3 of the brain jars had this soundbite to it, and you kind of knew that it kind of made the player focus to kind of say, oh, looks like there's something here.
Yeah, I do remember in, maybe not Derby specifically, but in some of the later maps being like, ooh, noticing that noise when you're running around pressing X. It had the kind of like, like you said, the weird interact noise that you get, but it also had that kind of like constant sound it would play until you activated it, so you knew you were in the vicinity. Which I thought was a really good, really good addition.
Going to activate a music Easter egg.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I've just said that it was a really good addition because it made it so you knew when you were close to activating a song. Definitely made it easier, But yeah, what about you? What did you think of Beauty of Annihilation?
I mean, as I said, it's probably the second most iconic song in zombies really after 115.
Oh yeah.
I like it. I really like how heavy it feels, like especially that opening like guitar shred.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember when I was a kid and just it's probably why I have tinnitus now, but playing it on full blast on my earphones and just it was so cool.
Yeah. I still love the instrumental to it to this day. I like the one that Kevin has on his YouTube channel. It's an absolute banger.
And I found it cool that obviously they had it prepared before the map release, because it's a song that or an excerpt of the song plays like at the end of every dog round.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. I mean, am I right in thinking that the screaming part is actually
like modulated?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I think that because I remember them saying that in the giant version of this, it's the same audio, but it's just more in line with how it actually sounded.
Yeah, I believe the scream is literally just a voice modulator from what I remember hearing anywhere. That this is obviously 115 is the one that first has genuine screaming in it.
Yeah.
This one's more like a voice effect, I think, because I think it's the whispering that they use that you hear in the giant as the bass for it, and they just modulate it from there, and that's why you get the weird, distorted kind of voice. But I don't know, I think it works. Like thematically, it ties with Derry's quite well. I think it's it's probably a case of I wonder if they wanted to do it properly, but they just didn't have time, or she didn't know how to do it then, or what. I'd be interested to know whether it was a conscious decision or something that just had to be done for times, for the how much time they had. You know what I mean?
I mean, still, it sounds great regardless.
It really does, yeah.
And it's a peak song.
Absolutely,
definitely an S tier song.
Yeah, like all the early ones are great. To be honest, I have trouble picking out songs from Zombies that I just don't like. There's a lot of ones that I'm just like, these are just all really good, and I have a lot of trouble picking out bad ones.
Kind of touching into general ambience of the map, is this the first map that doesn't have a kind of little radio that plays other songs, or is there one on this map?
I don't believe Shino Numa has it, does it?
Oh no, yeah, you're probably right. Yep, my bad. It's just Verrucht and Nacht, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't even think wasn't it confirmed that Verrucht doesn't actually have it in the World at War version? It's just Black Ops 1.
Yes, yeah, right, you are.
Yeah. It's really cool though. Cool bit of info.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
Just kind of briefly go over the tell me your thoughts on the general ambience of the map, like.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I love, as you've mentioned here, the sirens and that in the background. It makes such a creepy atmosphere. Sometimes I've just sat there when I'm recording videos for the soundtrack or something. Back when I was doing Riese and just sitting in the in the back area and listening to the sirens and that, and all the different sound effects, the clock going, the sounds of the fire and all that. It just makes for a really creepy atmosphere. I really enjoy it. I think Riese does that really well. It's just kind of it's kind of got that ghost town vibe a little bit. As you say, it feels like it was populated at one point, but everyone's just gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I was just about to say. It makes you feel like that what's going on is bigger than just the location you physically run around in.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, all the Zombies maps do a really good job of that, making things feel bigger than they are. It's always quite a shock for me. I think it was with Zetsubo, when you no-clip out using the PC version and you see how far out the swamp goes, and then there's just nothing. but the map when you're actually in it feels huge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how much they get away with
like,
just, you know, visual quirks and illusions and that sort of thing. How like a couple of just quickly wrapping up, just like a couple of no, it's all right. How just a couple of like 2D textures in the background for like mountains or buildings or something really sell the idea that the area is way bigger than it is. What were you saying then? Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. Again, folks, like we don't have face cams, so I can't see when Josh is like wrapping up or like talking. So I don't mean to keep interrupting him. So I do apologise. Yeah, no. I can't remember what I was going to say now. So all of that for nothing.
I was talking about the buildings and that making the maps feel bigger than they are. If that helps.
Yes. Yeah, I remember now. So like the previous maps always felt like they were in isolated locations.
Yeah.
And to some extent they were. But I think like with the general ambience of the map, it does make it feel like, as I said earlier, just something bigger going on. Like it doesn't just affect the location you're physically running around in, but like what's going on does affect the wider kind of world around it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which really is a testament to like Treyarch's world building.
Yeah, for sure. It's not part of the sound design, but I think a visual aspect of it that really helps sell that is the eerie like eclipse that's going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes everything feel kind of uncanny, you know. Like you say, it's like something's happened.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
It's like something's, you know, like you say, it does feel like something terrible has happened, and you're like slap bang in the middle of it, and the clock looping and all that. It just feels off. You know what I mean? But in all
like the ash and sparks falling from the sky.
Yeah, absolutely. It's off in the best possible way.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, the radios, I guess that kind of fits into sound design. Just hearing like the backstory and that, and I remember like thinking like, I used to find it really creepy, thinking like, oh, you know, like about Samantha and all that, and you're like, oh, all this horrible stuff's happened to her, but it's also vague, and you're like, what's like, you know, after the teleport, what happened to her, where is she, and all this sort of thing, like Maxis and all that, and yeah, that's it's something that I think it was just a case of it, you know, you're playing it at that age when it's, you know, kind of a bit more, has a bit more of an effect, whereas now it'd probably be a bit more brushed off. I used to find that aspect really creepy, of like, you know, again, it just feels like something horrible has happened, and you're just slap bang in the middle of it, which I guess is true.
Yeah, and like, yeah, absolutely, and like, but like contrast that with something like Liberty Falls, which for all intents and purposes has like the exact same thing has happened.
Yeah,
but I feel like Riese is so much more realised and lived in.
Yeah.
And than something like Liberty Falls.
I think a lot of it has to do with the horror vibe. Like, Liberty Falls has barely anything as far as horror goes, and nothing about it feels creepy. It just feels kind of like generic zombie fodder. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know. It doesn't really have that kind of like environmental storytelling that I think Riese does. There probably are a few things here and there, but for the most part, it just feels like kind of like a Halloween set, almost.
Yeah, no, yeah, you got that right in the nose there.
It just feels like it's like a place filled with decorations to look creepy, but it just, none of it feels realized, like you say, or like, again, I don't want this to be like a I hate Black Ops 6 video, because I certainly don't. I do really enjoy Black Ops 6, but I definitely don't think the maps are on par with the stuff we've had previously. They're better.
I think it's the fact that
than like Cold War, but they're not quite there yet. What were you saying?
I think it's the fact that the map just takes like, there's an element of mystery that the older titles have that the newer ones don't.
True.
And I think that plays in huge with the environmental storytelling. You go around Riese, And even the radios, they don't give you lots. They give you like a bit of backstory, but they don't tell you exactly how it all happened. Like you get the radio with Porter about it, and when it does start to happen, but it doesn't give any indication of that Richtofen caused this or Samantha caused this when she went into the like you get the answers later on, but when you're like your first kind of playthrough, you're like walking around, you're like, what happened? Like, and then Pete get these like little nuggets from the radios, but nothing that kind of gives any kind of full explanation, and so you're kind of left to kind of piece your own narrative together and figure things out, all while kind of protecting yourself from zombies and things like that. Whereas like I think the newer titles, certainly Black Ops 6, but like there is an element of kind of showing and not telling, which I think Cold War was definitely guilty of too much telling, rather than not enough showing. But I still don't think they fully addressed that with Black Ops 6. There's still quite a lot of tell, but not enough showing, and everything like I couldn't like. There is an element of like, why is there an outbreak happening anyway? But like. There's no element of kind of me trying to piece together my own narrative now. I'm kind of left waiting for the next title to kind of
give you a bit more,
give me all the answers and like
No, I totally agree. It's like you said though. I think it probably comes down to like the fact that back then they were kind of writing it as they went, whereas now they have a predetermined story. They know where it's going. And that's kind of been a thing since Black Ops 2, really, hasn't it? It was more of like a Zelensky thing, the whole having the fans add stuff and all that. It's kind of a thing that's been dropped in recent years. They have something in mind now, and they're going to deliver on that instead of building on what other people theorize is going to happen, which, you know, is fine. That's how most stories are told, I suppose. You know, it's not like it's out of the like they're thinking out the box or anything. That it can be a bit more boring that way. And if you're not fully engaged in what's going on, it just doesn't quite land, you know. Whereas if you're directly participating,
absolutely,
you're getting a bit more out of it. You know what I mean? Because you're like, it feels like you're working with them to write the story. You know what I mean? Which feels a bit more engaging.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you say, like they give you. Sorry, I'll just quickly say this. It's like they give you those. It's like they just give you a couple of threads, and are like, you know, you put them together in a way that feels right to you. And we won't particularly. Well, they do now, I suppose. We won't say exactly how they connect. And that's kind of what made it unnerving. It's like that fear of the unknown. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I feel like Riese, going back to that, just feels extremely, you know, liminal. That's how I would describe Riese. It's basically a liminal space.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's like
absolutely.
It's isolated from everything else, and it's like everything's just, I guess with the clock as well, everything's just stopped. You know what I mean? But yeah, sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I didn't mean to kind of interrupt you.
No, it's alright.
I was just going to say, like, if there wasn't anything that you had to add, let's move on to Black Ops on Port, but, like, if you still got stuff that you want to cover, then...
No, that's me. That's all I wanted to finish up on.
Okay. No worries. Yeah, well, let's go briefly over the Black Ops 1 port.
Alright,
yeah, what's your thoughts?
It's pretty standard fare, really. Nothing too different from the previous ports that we've talked about. Again, they did fix the Wunderwaffe this time, so that's always nice. No more curse, as we called it back in the day. Again, they've added the Black Ops 1 weapons. The songs still cut out. Beat of Annihilation cuts out like 5 seconds.
I think this one's the worst one, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be the most offensive one, for sure. The lighting's again a bit different, but it's largely the same. I don't think they added anything new. There's a few quotes that are mixed up. I remember Nikolai has a voice change for some of the quotes on Black Ops 1, where they use his beta or alpha voice actor, whoever it was that they used. So they're left in. But beyond that, I don't really know of any other changes off the top of my head.
No. I mean, the biggest change as usual is the Black Ops 1 weapons coming in. A nice little change adding on to the fix to the Wonder Wolf is it got a nice shiny golden camo, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. It used to be like a bluey chrome sort of look in the original, didn't it?
Yeah.
They also, which one is it that gives it like the pink or the purple light bulbs? Is that Black Ops 1? I think it's Black Ops 1.
Yeah, maybe. It might even be Black Ops 3.
Maybe I'm getting them mixed up. Maybe the chrome one is... Oh, I can't remember now. Whether the chrome one's Black Ops 3. I'm getting all confused now.
I don't know. I know that it could be Black Ops 3, to be honest, thinking about it. But I know that for a fact that this is the first, like, Black Ops 1 port is the first time that you get 3 different camos, Pack-a-Punch camos. Like, you got the World at War camo for the World at War guns.
Oh, yeah.
You got the Black Ops 1 lightning, or not lightning, the circuit board camo for their ones, and then the golden camo for the Pack-a-Punch.
Probably worth mentioning as well is that during the fly trap on Black Ops 1, the teddies are invisible from certain angles.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, the one up in the window, I believe, is like kind of transparent.
That probably explains why I can't see it sometimes.
I can promise you, I've no clipped. It does not appear properly. It doesn't render in properly for some reason.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure what it is that causes
Fair
it, but
enough.
it's definitely not. It's definitely not present in Black Ops 1.
Mm-hmm.
If you shoot in the general location,
Fair
though, you
enough.
still hit it. You just can't see it.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, beyond that,
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty standard fare, isn't it? Like, there's pretty much next to no changes. Like, it plays just like the World at War version, just with Black Ops 1 guns, really, and
yeah, more or less,
such. Like, I think my only dislike about it is that I think it looks worse than the actual World at War version. It looks very dated, in my opinion, but that's been my opinion for all of the ports.
Yeah, my big issue with the Black Ops 1 versions visually is kind of have the contrast too high, if you ask me. It's got that, early 2010s everything needs, like, when something's remastered, it's darker thing going, where it's like they've just cranked the shadows up to make the blacks darker and make the lights stick out a bit more, but that's about it. It feels more like it's you ever heard of reshade? It basically feels like a reshade version of World at War rather than a remap, which is what it is, really. It's just, the same maps in a different engine. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel fully realised, but it's totally serviceable. And when I want to play World at War, or play Riese rather, I normally pick that version. Purely because of the better collision.
Yeah, that's fair. And the convenience of all of the Black Ops 1 maps are on the same disc as the World at War ports.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, am I right? I'm right in thinking that the World at War ports were released day one, weren't they? With the hardened, was it the hardened or the Prestige edition back when they were a thing?
The hardened edition, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think they really kind of went through any much change. They were effectively launch maps, weren't they? So they didn't have time to be polished, I guess.
Yeah.
When Moon rolled around.
Oh, that is one small change, actually. It has Mule Kick, as with the previous maps.
That's true.
But yeah, that was just a general Black Ops 1 patch, wasn't it? So.
Yeah. It's kind of cool that they kind of kept that location for a perk in the Giant as well.
Oh, yeah. Can't remember what it is in the Giant. It's just randomized, isn't it, in that map?
It's a random. Yeah.
Just a quick note that I wanted to go back to that I completely forgot to mention. Is just that how humorous it is. The fact that people have modded the Springfield into World at War Riese and managed to upgrade it, and it's still terrible. It can't even kill them back a punch.
Yeah, that was on my mind when we were talking about Pack-a-Punch, like the Springfield.
Yeah, you can mod it in on PC, and apparently it's still dreadful, even Pack-a-Punch. But it's interesting that it does have a version.
Yeah. I think it's like earned its name as the most useless gun in zombies.
It has. Like, I don't think there's many guns that can serviceably be called useless upgraded, but that's one of them.
Absolutely.
Even some of the weaker weapons can be utilized in some way, but that one was a complete waste.
Yeah, for real. Unless you've got anything to add, let's just go over the trivia. You've mentioned a couple of these already, haven't you?
Yeah, so we've got Griffin Station, or the Teddy Bear, whichever you prefer, which is on the... could you timestamp this again? Which is on the moon, or during the eclipse. You can see like an orange mark, which I guess it depends who you ask. I've heard people say it's a teddy bear. Some people are saying it's a meteor. Some people said it's Griffin Station. Who knows? It's hard to say with those low-res images.
Yeah, I always assumed it was Griffin Station, like when you zoom in on a sniper with a sniper rifle. Yeah. Look up at the moon.
Yeah. Just going off the teddy bear
Which
thing.
begs the question.
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, it begs the question: do you think they had like moon planned all the way back then, or at least Griffin Station planned?
Oh, that brings up a good point. Actually, the Black Ops 1 notice boards with the pictures.
Well, that's what I was gonna go over at some point in this section.
Yeah. I don't really remember what's on the pictures in World at War. I haven't looked at them in the World at War version for a while. I'd have to double check.
Kino's there. I know that Tag to Totem or not. Sorry. Call of the Dead is on there.
Get ahead of yourself a bit.
Yep. Sorry. World at War did not predict Tag to Totem. They predicted Call of the Dead. I know that it, and what the reference is here is that it does reference Moon, but the original version of Moon, which was going to be Paris.
The Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower.
There, isn't it? Yeah. That's always pretty cool. I wish I had the pictures up so I can have a look at them. I might have to see if I can pull those. But yeah, like you said, they're different on Black Ops 1, aren't they? So we've got like you said, those ones. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think like Sentients aren't there. I can't quite remember, but
yeah. No, it was pretty cool. That. Beyond that, we have the Ammo-Matic, which we've already gone over, so I won't bother repeating that.
Yep.
And this one was always pretty fun for me. I think it's only... Didn't we test this? Isn't it only in the World at War version?
Yeah.
The England, France, and Germany teleporter signs, which is like they're like hidden behind or around the teleporters. I always thought those were pretty interesting. I don't know if a lot of people know about them because I don't see them getting mentioned. You didn't know about them, did you? Before I showed you them.
No, when you quizzed me on it.
Yeah, so if anyone didn't know about those, they are there, which I assumed they were going to use to send, zombies, I guess, to different parts of the world.
Yeah.
I'm assuming is the what they're trying to infer with that. It's interesting.
Well, given the setting, it kind of makes sense.
It does, yeah. It's just interesting that they got cut from the future versions of the map. I don't even think they're present in the Giant. So I wonder why they took them out. Maybe it's something they decided to walk back. I don't know. I'd be curious to know though. And
yeah.
This is a classic one. The clock that's stuck is referencing 115, which I don't think needs any explanation.
Magic number.
Yeah. So I think even now people know what 115 is.
You said the number.
It's either that or 935. They love both of them, don't they?
Absolutely. I think this was really where they fleshed out a bit more. Actually, no, it's more in Black Ops 1 that they fleshed out the 115 stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
It's still pretty cool.
Iconic. And the Zeo newsroom, which again we already spoke about, so there's no point covering that one.
No.
So, are you wanting to take us into the only thing we have in the other section?
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, the only thing that I've mentioned here is the music trailer for this map. I mean, what an absolute cinematic. Sorry, I'm trying to be clever. What an absolutely cinematic masterpiece.
Absolutely.
Like the cinematography of it is like the way it's kind of shot and it's done is on point.
Absolutely.
It's such a good trailer.
One of the funny quirks I always remember from it is how Nikolai, when he goes down, is literally just going prone, because you can tell they've got got their hacks on and their cheats, and they're just like,
absolutely,
just go prone. I'm like, why not just go down? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why they didn't just bother going down. It wouldn't make a difference, would it?
Absolutely. Yep. I think the thing that sticks out to me most in that trailer was the obscene amount of bouncing Bettys that Takeo put down.
I want to know what cheats Takeo was using to be able to set that many without them all exploding on at the end of the bridge.
I know, right? It's such a good shot, though.
It is.
That and the last one where Dempsey and Richtofen are firing off the LMGs at the end, and you got all the zombies swarming around you.
Is it that? I thought it was Takeo and Richtofen, isn't it?
Oh, it could have been Takeo and Richtofen. I might be getting it wrong. I haven't watched the trailer in a while.
I'm sure Dempsey dies. I'm sure he blows himself up with a grenade or something.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right. But yeah, that scene at the end, the whole kind of trailer really encapsulates everything that Zombies is, really, in my opinion. It caps off World at War great. It
really does, yeah. It just oozes 2008, 2009. It's great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Trying to remember, like, the bit I always remember from it is the bit where Dempsey says, what is it? They're swarming, look out, and he does that hand gesture, the generic.
Yeah, Richtofen does it later on, and he's going like, "You will not feed."
It's just funny watching those idle animations kind of like playing out. I'm gonna have to check that next time we play World at War. See if they actually just do it generally, or if that's something they consciously put in.
I can confirm that they do. Having like played in lobbies where people are away from keyboard,
right?
And they just sit at the teleporter all the time at the spawn.
They just stand there and
I
delegate.
have watched them. Just yeah, exactly.
That sounds like most AFK players.
Yeah.
Protect me. Just fucking standing there, delegate.
Exactly. Like here I am, just like, and during like the round transitions, I'll go up to them, just stare them down, like willing them to move.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden they'll kind of knife you and start moving around.
Yes, yeah, I remember that. The knife thing is classic. What game was it where you couldn't knife them because they counted as friendlies, and you had to knife to the side of them to hit them? Is that Black Ops 1?
Possibly.
I know one of them doesn't let you knife people dead on. You have to knife to the side to get the actual blood effect to come off them.
Yeah, probably. I would be remiss in mentioning as well, like, the god-awful players who would, like, steal your kills, like tossing grenades down the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
In one of the spawn windows.
Yeah, honestly, this might have been the beginning of it. Riese is the first one I remember being bad.
Yeah.
Like you say, absolutely. You're just standing there at your window, and then the grenade indicator comes up. Cue flashback, like PTSD flashback from World at War's veteran campaign. There's grenades, indicators flash up on the screen. You're standing at the bottom of the stairs.
I don't need it. I'm going to wake up in a cold sweat later, just like thinking about that. Is there anything else you want to cover?
No, honestly, I think it's taken us 2 hours, but I think we might have actually covered it all.
Nice. Well, in which case, next episode we're going to take a break from our zombies retrospectives and things.
Hold on, before you go
unless
on with
obviously,
that
thinking about that, the next episode probably will coincide actually with the mansion episode. So
that, and we have been
probably
discussing maybe doing like a wrap up for World at War, where like we do like a tier list sort of thing, and put all the maps, weapons, stuff like that. Just a full episode of just like a tier list or something, just to cap it off. We haven't quite decided yet whether that's going to be part of the mansion episode or whether we'll just do it as its own thing.
Yeah. We'll figure out how we're going to format that.
Yeah. So it'll either be next episode or the episode after. One of the two.
Yeah. But I mean, thinking about it, as I said, the new map. If this is out on the 20th, the next map would actually be. It might be the one after. Thinking about it, we'll figure it out.
Alright.
But at some point, like just in general, we're going to be talking about at some point the new mansion map. We're going to be doing the tier list thing.
Yeah.
And then just as a bit of a break from zombies, Josh and I are thinking about just having a special episode where we discuss like a different game, like
we've been
Dark Souls, or we've both just been playing through Resident Evil 0, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
Discussing that maybe.
We've been thinking about like as Aidan said, like capping off each Call of Duty game or Zombies game with an episode of something different. Because as we always say, this isn't an exclusively Zombies podcast. It's just general things, really. But Zombies is again the primary focus at the minute. Until we get through these games.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's just
and
oh, go on.
No, you finish up.
I was just gonna say it's just a bit of a palate cleanser in between titles to make, just to see what it's like covering something else. You know what I mean? Cause,
absolutely.
Like I said, palate cleanser.
I mean, this is kind of like how we're marketing ourselves. Although we've been kind of very zombies heavy, we're not wanting to kind of chain our hands on it, really.
Yeah, I think it'll always be a pillar we come back to. Like as new games come out, once we've covered all of them, as new stuff comes out, we'll probably cover it. So it'll probably still be a thing.
Yeah.
But it's not exclusively going to be zombies.
Absolutely. And going over that tier list episode, it might be worth that we cover our likes and dislikes of each of the Black Ops 1 maps. So in the same episode, just to give it a bit more meat. But Josh and I will have discussions, and we'll keep you guys posted. As to what we're doing.
As well, if you have any.
In the meantime,
if you have any contributions or any ideas you want to put forward, feel free to let us know.
Absolutely, this is your podcast, guys, as much as it is ours, so we are happy to discuss whatever you want at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, though, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and any of the other YouTube pleasantries. And on that note, I will hand it over to Josh for closing comments.
Alright, so again, nothing specific to add here, really, just the usual. Don't want to take any more of your time that we already have. So, as we usually do, make sure to check the comments for the Discord and join up if you want to talk to people who also want to talk about zombies, that sort of thing. The soundtrack for Liberty Falls and Terminus will be going out after this is uploaded. Hopefully as soon as. I'm trying to target it the day after and we'll move on from there. But I'll see what happens.
Preferably the Monkey Bomb first.
Eventually. But yeah, well, hopefully you enjoyed that. Take up quite a bit of your time again with this one. They're getting longer, I swear, and it's probably only going to get worse as we delve into the more complicated maps. It's going to be The fact that we've...
Yeah.
I remember saying to you, like going back to our first episode real quick, saying to you about how I thought our first episode would only be like half an hour, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now here we are with Riese, like the most borderline, like basic map by today's standards, and we've managed to squeeze 2 hours out of it. It's just...
I know.
You know, when it's just...
We're trying to kind of condense it down.
Aye. But you know, when it's something you're passionate about, you know, it's easy to get lost in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, so I think I'll wrap it up there then. Thanks for watching, as always. As Ed said, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we'll catch you in the next one.
If you got any story... Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, like, we've mentioned a couple of our kind of stories.
Oh, yeah, good
memories.
point.
Like, if you got any memories of Riese, we'd love to hear them as well.
Yeah, and just tapping on that as well. On the Discord, we have, like, a nostalgia section for stuff like that. So if there's anything you want to add to that, feel free. Alright, so I guess we'll see you in the next one then. Alright, see ya.